Hey guys, Mike from Wrestling Then and Now. Thanks so much for checking out the YouTube channel and for all your support. If you haven't already, please click subscribe. I have so much content coming up. You don't want to miss anything. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. It really does help my channel grow. Thanks again.
I love three count. Like I absolutely thought that was the greatest heel gimmick for you three guys. Your look, your size. It was perfect. It's what
Yeah.
Jimmy Hart came up with three count.
Yeah. We basically were doing something like that in Music City. So I'm pretty sure that Canyon and Jimmy had watched that footage too. And then Jimmy come at us because Brittany and Justin Timberlake and all them were hot at the time. And Jimmy thought it was going to be a babyface thing. Like he legitimately wanted us to be pop stars that sold out arenas at first, talking to him. But obviously, like I'm looking at it and I'm going, dude, the wrestling fans are gonna hate this.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. But Jimmy, he wanted us to do like shopping malls and like pack out these crazy places doing these concerts and stuff. And that was the original idea. But um, as it got going, they started recognizing the heel heat. And then Arn Anderson was like, dude, like this could be one of the biggest heel act on the show. Um, and then Arn, like he would send us out to sing like 3, 4 times a show, especially on house shows. Like, and then we'd go out, before the show started, we'd go out and sing. The people would boo. We'd go out before intermission. The people would boo.
that's
Then
awesome.
like we'd go out after intermission. The people would boo. Then right before the main event, we'd go out again. And by this point, people would be throwing stuff at us. And you know, then at that point, like they would always send Sid Vicious down just real slow. Then like the people would go nuts, like, oh man, like, so we would, obviously think they were cheering for us and be like, thank you guys. We knew you would finally understand how great we are. And like as he would just get closer and then stand behind us, like the people would be just like going nuts and would turn around and then he'd just bing us around and get rid of us. Then set the main event so that way that the people would be hot. So we had a pretty good spot on, the house shows and stuff. And even the pay-per-views, like, they would call on us to compete against, Matt and Jeff and the Dudleys doing their ladder matches. It was always like, hey, we need you guys to go out there. Like the Hardys and the Dudleys are doing their thing, but what can y'all do to do our version of it? And it's like, man, so that was whenever we started like trying to build scaffolds and stuff out of the ladders to try and do something different from what they were doing up there.
How'd you get along with Evan?
I love Evan, man. He's one of my best friends still today. He he had been there obviously for a while whenever we got there. You know, Evan, I don't think he was like a hardcore wrestling fan, so like he didn't really know anything about indies or who I was or who Shane was. So whenever we first got there, I'm sure he was kind of like, who are these guys? Like, but me and him we hit it off pretty good. Like super cool dude. We traveled together and like just had a lot of fun on the road and like I'm really good friends with with his family and his wife still to this day. And man, he's did things like, you know, for people that most wrestling fans don't know about. And me personally, like when my mom passed away, just some things that he does, like he's got this, he's got a tax business, like he does really good for himself. Whenever he left WWE, he was like, man, forget this business. Like I can do something on my own and not have to worry about the craziness of this business and the politics. So I don't know. He was smart, man. Like he went out and he did his own thing, and yeah. So I got a ton of respect for it. Love that dude.
Anybody in WCW give you like just not want to work with you guys because you're the cruiserweights? There's definitely a okay, you're the cruiserweights, we're the heavyweights mentality with a lot of guys. Anyone not want to work with you guys, or they all wanted to work with you guys?
Nah, I think once they seen that we would, what we could do to bump and sell for people, everybody kind of wanted to work with us. I know Brian Knobs, like whenever we did the hardcore stuff with them, or with him, he was a little iffy because, I'm sure ego come into play with that too. He thought he was this huge star and been in the business forever. But, and once again, Brian Knobs, he didn't know that we'd already been wrestling for 7, 8 years prior. So, he thought we were just these new kids coming in on, and they were putting us in a storyline with him. But eventually, like, he's seen that we would work hard for him, and um, you know, we got along with everybody. I mean, I think the only person that honestly, like, I really didn't talk to just after a few interactions and just his ego was out of control was like probably Buff. Just because he would just say stupid stuff to you, and like his ego, he thought he was the biggest star on the planet, and obviously we seen what his ego did to his career, so he kind of lost out on that.
What was it like winning the hardcore title? That was and it was three guys. It wasn't like you were sent out there to beat Brian Knobs on your own. It was the three of you, all three of you
Yeah,
guys were the hardcore jet. Gene, I mean, that's just wrestling
yeah,
101. Those days, man. I miss those days. Like you said, Arn sent you out 4 times in a show. That's old school, man.
yeah,
Nowadays, they would have killed you guys off in 5 minutes. There'd be no heat.
yeah.
But talk to me about uh winning the hardcore title.
Yeah, that was cool. We had a lot of transitions at that point too. I guess who took over creative. So at the time, I think Kevin Sullivan he had the books down there. Kevin Nash had the books at one point. And whenever these guys would always do really good stuff with us, and they knew that we were Jimmy's boys, so everybody respects Jimmy. So yeah, like Kevin Sullivan, man, like I think he was booking whenever we did that, and like he pretty much told Brian, like, hey, this is what we're doing, and like it was funny because whenever we would do the ladder stuff, Shane was like, hey man, whenever we go off this ladder, let's kill Brian, like let's squash him because like he wouldn't hold back, like Brian would beat the shit out of you, so. It was our turn finally because we had the ladders
Right.
and all that stuff. We are like, all right, we're gonna get you back now. It's receipt time, sucker. So um, yeah, we had fun with that, man, and it was pretty cool. It's like you said, it's wrestling 101, storytelling, and like you don't see a lot of that these days. Just the storytelling these days are so fast, and like they're to me, like I think a lot of stories today are just overbooked or overproduced, and it's like it's hard to follow. And it's like that's one of those storylines that was so simple and anybody can follow it. And it's like, man, now if you don't watch, every week of wrestling, it's like you don't know what's going on some of these TV shows.
Yeah.